all know the anxiety that says something might happen, that something will happen, the anxiety that things are just waiting to happen. It is called anticipatory anxiety, the first anxiety. There is a second anxiety that we also know. It is the anxiety of afterwards, after the event, after the accident, after the illness, after this, after that. And there is a third anxiety, the anxiety of always. It always happens to me. You are always lying. You're always lazy. You're always leaving your stuff lying around. Always, always. And there's a fourth anxiety. I call it attribution anxiety. We attribute our anxiety to our upbringing, to our parents, to our early life, to the behavior of somebody else, others. So while good things, make sure of this, good things certainly do come via other people, via past events. All too often we give ourselves over to focus on the negative events, the negative past, the negative power, the people of the past who dropped their negative bundle right in our path, and now we have to cope with it. 4 expressions of anxiety. And we look for some effective intervention, some form of realistic help, something to turn our bad experiences around and into something good. So of course we look at ourselves, and so often we find that we don't have what it takes. So we look to other people. Would you help? Other people who are pledged to help. They ought to help. Other people who are supposed to help. And then if that doesn't turn out as we'd like, we then might say we look to influences and powers somewhere out there, somewhere beyond ourselves. Those strengths in ourselves, other people, and beyond us are scattered throughout life's pathways. But we can miss them, or we can give them a demotion in their importance, or we fail to see through their camouflage and we treat them as impostors. So the psalm that I read to you today is a case in point. We read it. We might even say, yes, we remember it, but it seems so ineffective and so irrelevant to what we have to cope with. People through the centuries have pondered the anxieties that affect us, asking the same basic question, coming up against the same brick wall, the wall of indifference, the wall of ineffectiveness, the wall of irrelevance, the wall of the impasse. And these questions left the psalmist, Psalm 121 we read today, they left the psalmist asking the question, where shall I find help? Effective help. Help that will soothe my pain. Help that will soften my hardest times. Help that will give me strength, the strength I need, day and night. So the religious answers have come. The biblical answers have come. And the psychologists' answers have come. The psychologists in our contemporary era come up with a plethora of answers to our problem. They say, learn the right skills. Develop the right personality strengths. Take time to set effective support groups in place. And if you can't find answers in yourself, look beyond yourself to a helper, to a helpful presence, to a healing presence. to a power beyond yourself. Or look again at the problem and you're trying to deal, what are you trying to deal with? Is it something in yourself or something outside yourself? Are there ways to reduce the size of your anxieties, the power of your anxieties, to reduce the size of the energy of your trauma of the past? Are there ways to increase your own power to rise above that trauma? Are there ways to strengthen your personality so that you're able to control your response to the trauma? Are there ways to develop a resilience in your inner self? And are there ways to transcend the problem and yourself, as it were, to transcend the pain, the problem, the damaged personality, to resist all the past that seems to overwhelm you, to resist all that mesmerizing, multi-pronged undermining of your personality? Is it possible to rise above them? How can we leave the past behind? What is it that will give you your greatest anxiety? What is it that will give you the strength to cope with that anxiety? So what are we dealing with? Is it the size of your anxiety? The size of the problem you're dealing with? Is it the timing of that adverse event? Is it the place where it occurred? Or is it the context of the people who were around you at the time, the people who saw what happened, who were there to help or not help? So there is the adverse event, and we sometimes lack an effective way to live afterwards. The adverse event. The adverse event. People are likely to say, get over it. Everybody else is getting on with life. What's the matter with you? Get on with it. How long are you going to go on raking over the coals? How long are you going to go on repeating the same thing over and over? But the injustice of the event keeps hold of you. The humiliation of the event, of what happened, the loss that took place, the loss of something very important, or the anxiety of what might have happened, the loss of something very important. How do we leave it behind? One passage from Isaiah that I read today, they said, come on, things are now past. The past is over. It is time to look to the future. How do we leave it behind when we feel it is not right to leave it behind? Even though nothing positive might be achieved by hanging on, we still want to hang on to it. How do we leave it behind? Is it a learned skill? Is it a signposted process? Is it something that will fade away with time and we'll forget it? How will we rise above it? How will we drain it of its energy? Could there be a more important issue for us to deal with? Yes, even on Sunday mornings. Because here, this is something that really does jam us up. Something that happened and we can't let it go. Something that happened and we can't forgive the person who did it. Something that happened and there it is. When did it happen? 3 months ago. No. Not 3 years ago. 53 years ago. And we're still going over and over again. We're talking about an event that occurred in the past. And to state something which is very obvious, but we often forget, it is not now happening in the present, except via your mind, your emotions, and your memory. So we have a past event. Damage was done. We have the memory of it. We have the emotion that gathered around it. We have the repair and reparation that didn't take place. And we have the mind going over it, trying to find some appropriate appraisal of it. There is the context of the event as it occurred back then. The people, what they thought of us then, what they think of us now. And there's the context of the memory and the event, as it were, in the mind in the present. What is our context, the present context? So the effect it had back there and then is one thing. What will it do for the future? What is going to be the effect on you in the future? Are you going to bring all that powerful energy and emotion from back there, let's say 3 months, 3 years, 53 years ago, and bring it back and place it squarely now in the present and carry it into the future? The appraisal says the event can't be obliterated. It's happened. The energy I invest in it now needs my attention. How much attention will you give it? Can we give it the attention that will heal it, soften it, give you the strength to rise above it? How can I be soothed, softened, strengthened? Remember the words from last week? How can I be soothed, softened, strengthened, reshaped for a positive, enjoyable life in the future? So consider now what it means to transcend that past event, that past damage. Look at your current state, your current personality. Transcend. It means to refocus. The prayers today, again and again, said, help us to refocus. Transcend means to move off the energy that had gathered in the past event and allow new energy to flow in. Easier said than done. Transcend means to let go of the energy of the past event, the energy that reduces myself in size and significance, and identify some softeners, some soothers, some strengtheners that will help us to move on. Transcending means to see myself in a larger, different context. You can get stuck with where you are here, but transcend means to come up and out and over. Where the difficulty and the damage lose their power. They have their power back there, but as we come up and out and over, we want them to lose that power. So we see ourselves drawing on and becoming part of a greater power, of that wider perspective. The other day I was meant to be at an event. I went to an event, in fact, but I arrived rather early. So I sat in my car for a while and I wrote down, I thought, what does transcending mean? What does transcending mean, really? And I wrote down, and before long, I'd written down 30 different possibilities. Oh, no, I'm not going to give them to you. Relax. But you see, what do? Some ways to rise above the event, putting things behind us. We remember we're part of a higher universe, not just part of this. We call on our executive ego, which says, I'm not going to let this thing eat me up for the rest of my life. We see the value of our positive emotions being called upon to practice a different way of putting the past event in a different place. A different place, please note. We need to release. We need to find release from those fixations of asserting a justification. We feel justified with what we're doing. Release ourselves from that and all the hurt that goes with it. So all these things we can put together and list, what does it mean for you to transcend the situation? Maybe if you make your list, you'll get not 31, 35, 45, but we can get many of them. Now, in a few weeks' time, we're going to have a ceremony here in the church to unveil a sculpture in glass that will be an added part of St. Michael's place of worship. The sculpture will be given the name to represent everyone's search for a meaningful faith, to live a faith that will be helpful in difficult times. So what will its name be? It will be Transcend. Transcend. The psalmist said, I will look beyond myself to the God of the hills. That God will help me feel safe, he said. That God will strengthen my soul. We all look for our safety zones, our strengthening of our soul. So the words are there, even though the images might not gel with us these days. But speak to them again. Let them speak to you in your own way. The power of words to lift us out of our many anxieties. The anxiety of anticipation, the anxiety of afterwards, the anxiety of you're always doing it this way, the anxiety of attribution. Imagine being lifted into the context where there is an ambience of strength, where you're surrounded by sufficient energy to reduce the power of those anxieties, sufficient energy to rise above the inadequate, ineffective response that so often dogs us in our path. Rise above so that we find that sense of being strengthened and made strong enough to place our anxieties of life in a more manageable place. Instead of having them right here in front of us, jamming us up, to spread them out a little bit, allow ourselves to rise above them and see them from a different position and a different perspective. The energies can find a new focus. Focus on the things that give you pleasure rather than pain. On people that build up your strengths rather than undermine your self-worth. On places that enhance those strengths in life rather than those places that drain your strengths. The psalmist, the psalm writer, pointed to a way to lift us to a level of help that comes to us from beyond our current place. All too often, you would know, all too often people lose their places of strength and they surrender to their own scattered anxiety. We all do it. Those 4 anxieties are waiting to invade our life. And we're likely to continue in that scattered anxiety until we come to refocus on those positive places and on that positive presence, wherever it might be, the positive energies that come with it, that lift us beyond those anxieties to a safer, stronger place, to a safer, stronger sense of receiving the right help, of giving the right help, of being part of the energy of people who themselves become helpless. So through and through, there is one critical word to take us beyond our ultimate anxieties. And that word is transcend. Transcend. Without it, we fall into effectiveness. Without it, we succumb to our anxieties. With it, we are pointed to possibilities of a different way of being, a different strength in that way of being, placing ourselves in the possibilities that lift us out of our ineffectiveness, out of our anxieties and fears, to a different awareness of our own strengths and of the strengths that float into our life from beyond us. How important it is that we take hold of that word, transcend, and make it effective in terms of coping with those anxieties that are so much part of our life. The anticipatory anxiety, we know it. The afterwards anxiety, we know it. The always anxiety, we know that too. And the attribution anxiety, where we attribute our anxiety to the past, to somebody else, to other places. It is to own our anxieties and to see that we're given a perspective to transcend. And when we feel ourselves part of that, rising above our anxieties, we have new strength. The strength that the psalmist of old spoke about, the strength that the psychologists have spoken about, the strength that we ourselves can embrace. Transcend. Would you please stand? And looking beyond ourselves, we say the prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. And the blessing too, lifts us out of ourselves. May the God you see in all the colours of creation arouse in you a sense of awe and wonder. May the God who is a sacred presence be real to you. May the God who is a source of inspiration and courage keep calling you forwards. May your God go with you and bless you today and always.